Guys, this one's going to be a quick one. Say hello to the Logitech G413 mechanical gaming keyboard. It's simple, works right out of the box, and it only costs $90. Now that spices things up in the competitive market, since the HyperX Alloy FPS we took a look at costs $10 more, the Corsair Strafe costs $20 more than the G413. Now just to clarify, these are full-size mechanical keyboards, but due to their pricing, you are missing a few key features versus higher-priced alternatives. That may or may not affect your buying decisions. So how does the G413 compare against its bigger brothers, the G Pro and the G810? More on it right after this.
Introducing the new OCZ VX500 solid-state drives from Toshiba. It offers great, well-balanced speeds built with MLC NAND flash for superior endurance and is also backed by a 5-year advanced warranty program. Learn more about the VX500 at ocz.com.
Alright, first things first, what exactly are you losing feature-wise with the G413 compared to its bigger brothers, the G Pro and the G810? Well, the obvious one is RGB lighting, and that's okay for me personally since they're still backlit. The default color stays red, and I think it matches the design really well. Plus, red is typically the color choice that other brands use when they sell mid-range mechanical keyboards. The only exception to that is Razer. Next up is size, but that's subjective. I've been using the G Pro as my daily driver since it arrived at the studio, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I love the compact form factor, and the removable cable is a nice touch. The G413 on the other hand is a full-size mechanical keyboard, so you're getting the standard numpad, which is perfect if you're working with a lot of numbers, and while it does take up a little more space than a TKL keyboard, it's actually pretty compact. There are no dedicated macro buttons or included wrist rests that would expand a typical full-size keyboard's footprint. My buddy Dimitri has done a fantastic video comparing TKL keyboards to a full-size, and if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. As a bonus, Logitech has included a single USB 2.0 pass-through port at the back for plugging in any USB-powered device. On the downside, it requires more bandwidth to drive that port. Hence, the cable is really thick, so keep that in mind. It's also non-removable unlike the G Pro. And look, Logitech's goal with the G Pro was to offer a gaming keyboard for professional esports players who care about customizable lighting, compact nature, excellent switch performance, and portability. Now, with the G413, they're really targeting towards amateurs like me or anyone who games casually without leaving their desk. And I'm glad they have those criteria covered. To be honest with you, that focus doesn't make the G413 subpar for gaming. It's actually a great gaming companion. The build quality along with the design of the G413 is really good. Essentially, they've laid a solid piece of aluminum on top of the plastic chassis, which gives the chassis excellent rigidity, and as you can see, it barely flexes no matter how hard I push. Right now, the G413 will come in two distinctive flavors. The Carbon model I have here features a stealthy black anodized aluminum finish, and the silver model is a Best Buy exclusive only. Do note that the edges of the aluminum frame are a bit too sharp, but they don't get in the way when you're typing on the keyboard. Logitech has also included optional contoured keycaps for the WASD and MOBA key set if you need additional grip or for better separation with the rest of the keys. Personally, I would never swap the stock keys for these just because it takes away the stealth appeal of the G413 that I'm already digging. Moving on to switches, well, that's the best part. The G413 comes with Logitech's custom designed Romger-G switches like the ones found on the G Pro and the G810. This is pretty important since both of those keyboards cost a lot more. To give you a little refresher, the Romger-G incorporates lighting right at the center of the stem, and in turn it outputs a uniform and consistent lighting per key, so it avoids the brightness gradient found on standard Cherry MX switches. It looks amazing in person, and honestly, I'm not a fan of inconsistent light spill found on other gaming keyboards, so this is a good design in my eyes. The switches act exactly the same as a G Pro, meaning actuation takes place at 1.5mm and it only requires 45 grams of force to register a press. Now, if you compare that to a popular switch like the Cherry MX Reds that actuate at 2mm with the exact same amount of force, it's almost identical, but this is just Logitech's take on a faster switch, and that's true. These are really fast, almost closer to the MX Speed switches found on the K95 Platinum from Corsair. Other than that, there's nothing really more to talk about these switches since they are just as fast as the ones found on the G Pro, and my gaming experience with these were also similar. It's almost like using the G Pro if you don't pay attention to extra features like RGB lighting, compactness, removable cable, etc. And the best part is you don't have to pay a premium price to get a similar gaming experience. Speaking of gaming, the Romger-G switches do a great job at that. Now, I'm already used to these switches from the G Pro, so switching to the G413 didn't feel different. They are lighter, so it's easier for movements throughout the gameplay, and finger fatigue is completely out of question. Last but not least is the driver software, and it's one of the best to work around with. You're greeted with a physical overview of the keyboard, and Logitech has added a function key inversion toggle that switches the secondary commands like media playback buttons and the brightness control as primary, so you don't have to keep hitting the function to control them. Macros can be easily assigned from F1 through F12. Logitech has pre-programmed a handful of commands that users can take advantage of, which is cool. You can create profiles and play around with the lighting, which is also fairly limited when it comes to customizability. You only get the option to adjust brightness and enable or disable the breathing effect along with its respective speed. So to conclude, the G413 from Logitech is an interesting entry into the mid-range gaming mechanical keyboards. For one, it only costs $90, and you're getting the exact same switches found on the G Pro and the G810, which are the Romger-G switches. The build quality is great, and you're getting all the essentials of a full-size mechanical keyboard, like a numpad, dedicated or integrated media playback buttons, macro customization through the function keys, and adjustable sliders, which is pretty cool. If you really want to give Romger-G switches a try, give this a shot, and I'm sure you won't regret it. And we're also giving it the Canucks Damn Good Value Award. Well, that concludes this review. Hope you enjoyed. What do you guys think about the G413 from Logitech? Is the price justifiable for what you're paying? And are there any alternatives that you might be interested in? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm Ibra with Canucks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.